history in the food service business. And our organization started becoming activists and started representing folks in these kind of issues. We've had some campaigns to get people like Mario Vitale in one, where they were having wage issues. Locally, we have a restaurant chain called Andiamo's, which we had an action here, and we won there. And so we're trying to represent people, and it's about justice for us. Somewhere around 2006, the owner of Window on the World actually opened up another restaurant like in 2005. This restaurant failed. And in 2006, workers and some of the key members of ROC got together and actually purchased the restaurant, and that's Colors. It's called Colors because it represents the diversity of the crew, diversity of the food, and all these kinds of bigger food issues. So we are the second Colors in the ROC family. While we're not worker-owned, we like to say we're worker-focused. And our primary mission here is to train folks in food service so they can get, some cases, their first job or better job. So right now, the gentlemen that are serving you today are part of our program called Earn and Learn. We provide them with their uniforms, their shoes, bus tickets if they need it, soft skill training like how to interview, how to write resumes, but also they get hands-on training right here in the restaurant. And this is the really important part of their program here. Colors also has a heart for activism. So what we do is here, we have teamed up with a lot of local organizations in some form or fashion to support their efforts. One of the partnerships I'd like to talk about is with Malik McKinney's youth organization, Detroit Black Food Security Network, which has D-Town Farms, a 7-acre farm over in Ruse Park. So we buy produce from them. Along the way, we're going to be starting some other things, hopefully, and expanding upon that relationship. But we team up with folks like that. We team up with an organization called Grown in Detroit, which is now transforming into something else. We have local partners that are just people off the street that produce food for us, because local food is very important for us. One young man, Donald Jones, actually brings our salad greens to us on his bike in a backpack. So we're talking about really one-to-one relationships. And yes, we use large-scale service providers like U.S. Foods, but our heart is with the small-scale urban provider. And so these relationships are very important for us. Like I said earlier, like we even get a shrimp from Lansing, and we get microgreens from a gentleman who produces those in Sterling Heights, which is right outside of Detroit here. We also get the corn shoots that you see on your plate. They're coming from over here on the east side of Detroit. Some of where you'll see some sunflower shoots, they come from the east side of Detroit. So the local food aspect is extremely important to us, being part of it properly. A lot of restaurants think that it's impossible to do, and we're showing them that it's not impossible, because Colors is a model. We do fight for folks, but we also say that what we're fighting for is an achievable goal. Justice can be held in the workplace, it can be held in food. And one of our national directors, Sarah Jarman, just wrote a book that's just been released, and right now it's climbing the charts as far as the bestseller list, called Behind the Kitchen Door. One of the things as an organization that we're looking to do now is to make people aware of the depth of what their food, where it comes from. Everyone's concerned about local food, concerned about organic, concerned about healthy, easy access, but do we really think about the people that are serving the food to us is the question that we're asking. How are they being treated? Is that ethical? Is that just? And so that's what our organization is fighting for now currently. We're really pushing the book, and if you get a chance, please check out Behind the Kitchen Door by Charlotte Shireman. So it's an excellent book, and it really gets into the meat of what we're all about. And then also, I'm really happy to say there are some specific stories to Detroit in the book. And that we have some partners here we call high road partners, like Russell Street Deli, who pay people living wage. If you don't know, living wage is 125% of the poverty level. But we're not talking about making people rich, we're talking about making people comfortable, giving them the opportunity to live good lives, to feed their families, to educate their children, and to be able to grow and have a better life. So ultimately, Colors is about people. It's about these young men. It's about the people who come through our door to train. It's about our community partners. It's about our food system. It's basically about us. And we truly believe that justice can be had, and that's what our core of our activities are. As Renee mentioned, I'm the chairman of the Detroit Food Policy Council. And once again, I reference Malik here because it was his organization that came to the city of Detroit to talk about food sovereignty, the ability to feed our people. And so in that, creating a document about food sovereignty, but also the city council recognized that we needed some kind of organization, some kind of guidance, some kind of advisory board, and Joanne Watson, one of our council members, put the task to Malik and his organization to form a body. So what we have now is a body of 21 people, 12 people from different sectors of the food world, such as food producers, community food providers. There's educational component there, the K-12, as far as schools and institutions. And then there's 6 at-large community members, and then 3 governmental appointees. Catherine here is the governmental appointee for the City Council. We have a mayor's representative, and we have a representative from the Detroit Health Department. So it's a really well-rounded body of folks, and I'm proud to say that I really am proud of the work that we're doing. We're still kind of young in our growth, but we've been dealing with things about land use and sale of land here in the city of Detroit. I'm sure some of you have heard that we have a great number of parcels available to us. But what our position is that this process of selling the land to folks needs to be fair and transparent. And some of those things weren't a part of the process, so we're trying to work with the city to make sure that going forward that these things are addressed. We also put on a yearly food summit. This year, the theme of the food summit is what's on your plate. And we're kind of talking to people about what's on your plate in a general sense, like literally what is on your plate, talking about food and health and nutrition of food. But what kind of food issues are important to us? And here in the city of Detroit, food has become a way forward for a lot of people. And it can become a way forward for a lot more people. So there's some economic impact of food in our food system that we're trying to make sure that people have an understanding of, have a grip on what it all means, but also access to resources, access to information, and just really allowing people to enjoy the richness of local food. For those of you who are not really familiar with Detroit, I'm sure that you will see that we have a web of food and food activists that is tremendous, is strong, and is growing every day. And I'm proud to be a part of this Colors and the Detroit Food Policy Council because we've got a lot of great people doing a lot of great work here in the city of Detroit. And it's all interconnected. You know, sometimes I joke and say that we take turns being in charge, but it really speaks to the fact that we have a really passionate core of people. On a more lighter note, it was brought up, there was some interest about the space, because history is very important to us here in Colors. Where did we come from? A lot of folks forget where our food comes from. There's a disconnect there. We forget our family's history and our recipes and all those kinds of things. But history is really important to us here in Colors. And the history of this building plays a great deal of what we do and how we do things. This area at one time was known as Germantown. It's been known as a lot of things over the years. It's been called Germantown. It's been a part of Greentown. It's been a part of Black Bottom. For those of you who are not familiar with Black Bottom, there's a wonderful, rich history of African-American folks and businesses and professionals that populated this region, this area for a lot of years, and that has gone by the wayside, but we do celebrate it. This area became Harmony Park, but it has been brought back to be called Paradise Valley, in homage to what was going on here with the Black Bottom and such. This building in particular was built in the 1800s and burned down about 1890 or so. And the 2 German immigrants, the brothers that own this place, held a contest, and the building that you see here is the result of that contest. So this was called the Harmony Club. This space in particular, over the years, has been originally a German beer hall. It has been a speakeasy during Prohibition. Upstairs, I don't know if you guys have time, but if you have time to come back or something, in the gallery there are wooden columns, and there are actually buttons on the columns that they would push the button to warn the people that the police were coming. So there's a basement to this basement, and there are tunnels that led out to different houses, different buildings. So when the police would come, they would run down, run out through the basement, and out to other places to get away from the police. It has been a club, a restaurant, and now finally it is Colors. And we want to continue the rich history here. We want this history to be based on justice, fairness, economic balance, and improvement of the lives of all of our folks. And one of the things that we like to stress here, and a lot of systems, a lot of governments, and a lot of businesses don't stress, it's the least of us that's the most important. Because we are only as strong as our weakest link. And we forget that if we take care of our brother or our sister, we're actually taking care of ourselves. And it is not unrealistic to be selfish to help the next person down the line. And if we are all that kind of selfish, wouldn't this be a lot better place? So once again, welcome to Colors, and people, you all are at the core of what we are all about. Our trainees and our staff are at the core of what we're all about. We want you to have a great food experience. We want you to have a better experience in justice and community. So once again, welcome to Colors, and enjoy. Your meals are starting to come out now.